called him Achilles, the greatest warrior to ever live. And centuries later, another man was born who refused to believe that. His name was Alexander, the boy who looked at Achilles' tomb and whispered, "I will be greater." Two men, two storms. One fought for glory, the other for empire. Both were cursed with the same fire, the unbearable need to be more. You see, most men are afraid of insignificance, but these two, they were allergic to it. Achilles was the embodiment of divine rage. He was the blade of Zeus himself, a weapon disguised as a man. When he walked into war, armies stopped breathing because they knew death had arrived, wearing human skin. But Alexander wasn't a weapon. He was a vision. He didn't just fight wars. He created them. He didn't just conquer. He redefined what it meant to be human. He looked at the world and said, "It's too small for me." And then he proved it. Achilles' glory was built on blood. Alexander's glory was built on belief. Achilles fought for his name. Alexander fought to make the world remember it. Achilles was the god of the sword. Alexander was the god of the mind. And yet, both were devoured by the same hunger. Immortality, because that's the truth no one wants to admit. Men like them aren't chasing power, they're running from death. Achilles couldn't stand the thought of living an ordinary life. He chose a short life of glory over a long life of peace. He didn't care if the gods hated him. He wanted them to remember him. Alexander felt the same fire. He read Homer's Iliad like scripture. He carried it with him into battle. He didn't just admire Achilles. He wanted to become him, but somewhere on the path to godhood, he went further. Achilles was chaos. Alexander was control. Achilles destroyed empires. Alexander built one. Achilles was worshipped for his body. Alexander for his mind. Achilles' power ended where his rage began. Alexander's power began where his fear ended. That's the difference between the warrior and the conqueror. The warrior seeks the next battle. The conqueror seeks the next world. Most men today are neither. They don't fight for power, nor for glory. They fight for comfort. They chase safety, not immortality. They live like ghosts, breathing but already forgotten. Achilles and Alexander didn't fear death because they were too obsessed with eternity. Every scar, every war, every failure, a signature of existence. They wanted to carve their names into the bones of time. You think that's arrogance? No, that's faith. Faith in your own divinity. Because if you don't believe you were born to dominate something, then you were born to serve someone who does. When Alexander marched into Asia, people thought he was insane. He had no map, no limits, no equals. But that's how gods are born. In delusion, in defiance. He looked at the impossible and said, determined, mine. And that's what separates him from Achilles. Achilles fought because war made him feel alive. Alexander fought because he couldn't stand to feel finite. Achilles killed heroes. Alexander killed history. So who was the real god of war? Achilles was the embodiment of war itself. Raw, violent, beautiful in destruction. But Alexander was something more dangerous. The architect of war, the mind that commands chaos, the vision that makes men kill willingly. Achilles conquered the body, Alexander conquered the soul, but both shared the same curse. They won everything and lost peace, because peace is the death of greatness. Achilles found no rest without the roar of battle. Alexander found no rest even after he had conquered the world. He wept because there were no more worlds to conquer. Imagine that. The highest form of suffering. Having no enemy left. That's the loneliness of gods. They rise above everyone and find nothing left to rise toward. So who was greater? The sword, or the mind, the storm, or the empire, the man who could kill gods, or the man who replaced them? It doesn't matter, because both proved the same truth. That power is the only language the universe respects, and only those who dare to speak it become immortal. Achilles taught men how to fight. Alexander taught men how to rule. Achilles was lightning, Alexander was fire. One burned the battlefield, the other burned the world, and both still burn inside you. There's a piece of Achilles in every man who refuses to bow, and there's a piece of Alexander in every man who refuses to stop. The question is, which one will you become? The beast that destroys everything in his path, or the God who bends the world to his will? Because at the end of it all, history doesn't remember the cautious. It remembers the men who looked at the impossible and said, determined, watch me. That's immortality. That's war. That's power. And that's what it means